Man, whoever invented these, yo, he off the hook.
What?
Motherfucker got the bone all the way out the damn chicken. Till he came along, niggas been chewing on drumsticks and shit, getting their fingers all greasy. He said, later for the bone. Snug at that meat up and make some real money.
You think the man got paid?
Who?
Man who invented these?
Shit, he richer than a motherfucker.
Why?
You think you get a percentage?
Why not?
Nigga, please. The man who invented them things, just some sad ass down at the basement of McDonald's. Thinking of some shit to make some money for the real players.
Nah, man, that ain't right.
Fuck right. It ain't about right, it's about money. Now you think Ronald McDonald gonna go down that basement and say, hey, Mr. Nugget, you the bomb. We selling chicken faster than you can tear the bone out. So I'm gonna write my clowny ass name on this fat ass check for you. Shit. And the nigga who invented them things, still working in the basement for regular wage, thinking of some shit to make the fries taste better, some shit like that. Believe.
The infamous chicken nugget conversation is a scene that seemingly glosses over the heads of many Wire fans. Analysts seem only able to break down the real life story of the Chicken Man, without ever actually realising who or how that same story applies to actual characters on the show. And one of these individuals is no other than Bubbles, a character who cracks the Barksdale case for the police, yet reaps none of the rewards when all is paid off, and is robbed by those in power, who had little or nothing to do with it. McNulty and Kima are given handshakes, Rawls and Burrell medals, and Bubbles is given just enough money for another hit. As asked by Kima, what good is a clean informant? Help yourself, and the institutions of America will do everything to cripple you. Or help the institutions of America, and find yourself in a loop where you're trapped by those you're helping, because all they'll ever want is more to help themselves, and nothing to help you.
It's a thin line between heaven and here.
Omar and Bubbles, in my eyes, are two very similar characters. They're both what I would consider the two lone cowboys of the Wild West. Both players of the game, however neither are part of any gang or faction. They rob from those in power to get what they want, and when all goes tits up, turn to the police to try and screw with those they themselves are screwing with. Bubbles starts out as a junkie trying to run a scam in the hopes of stealing some dope he'll later on use for his own pleasure. However, during this scam, his, let's call him young apprentice, gets violently beaten by those he was scamming. Now angry and upset at the fact, Bubbles decides to turn to the police in an attempt to save what he would believe to be justice. And Omar's in a similar boat. He too attempts to rob from those in power for his own pleasure, and when all goes wrong, and his young apprentice is captured and killed, he also turns to the police to try and get some justice of his own. However, the key difference when it comes to these two shockingly similar scenarios is that one character is self-aware, whereas the other isn't.
$10 right here. Snitching bugs. You be asking for me?
For all his hypocrisy and wrongdoing, deep down Bubbles knows he's just another crackhead doing everything he can to get high. He also knows that what he preaches and what he practices are two very different things. Whereas Omar on the other hand doesn't. He's quick to label Bubs a snitch, failing to realise that he too is the exact same. He also fails to realise that he isn't in fact some high and mighty Robin Hood, out to give back to the poor. Rather, he's just another gangster with a gun, out to give back to himself. Bubbles may be a hypocrite, but at least he's aware of the fact. He'll remind you that there's rules to this here game, despite going on to break them. However, he'll remind you as he does truly want what's best for his young apprentice, rather than what's best for himself. And when he does break the rules come season 4, it's with a good heart that he does it, which is a complete opposite to Omar, who I hear get labelled as the heart of the Wire, or even his hypocritical acts being described as that of a good heart's hypocrisy, similar to Bubbles, which just frankly isn't true. Omar isn't out on the streets because he has to be. He isn't taking on new apprentices in the hopes of helping them out of a jam he finds himself in every day. He does what he does come season 4 to build up his legacy. Yes, he cares about these people, but he isn't schooling them so to benefit themselves. Rather, he's schooling them so that they'll do better when it comes to benefiting him.
Got a car full of shit, nigga, but what you got for me? I know you hold it. Where's it at? You ain't here?
Oh, okay. This is my shoe. My shoe.
Don't need a four now, son.
Come the beginning of season 4, which I deem to be a sort of clean slate for almost all of the Wire's characters. A reset, so to speak, as the majority of the major conflicts that were prevalent through the first 3 seasons are now at an end. We're given the chance to look at our characters in a new light. We get to see how they react to all that has just passed, and whether or not they've learned anything from their past mistakes or triumphs. Bubbles started out as a crackhead causing mischief, yet come the beginning of his clean slate, is now a hard-working man trying to make an honest living, and only does his new conflict arise when he is wronged and decides to take matters into his own hands in an attempt to seek justice for himself. Whereas Omar does exactly what he did in season 1, which is wrong others, and then have justice sought from him by those he had wronged. One man is a victim of the cycle, whereas the other is just another predator perpetuating it.
No, no, no! What you do? What you do? What you do? Oh, man, come on, Sharon. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. You're not supposed to do this, man.
Bubbles' story in season 4 is arguably one of the most difficult and depressing stories in all of television. It's about a man who tries his best to save a child just like him, and when screwed over by the vicious players of the game, is given no help by the institution he previously put his life on the line for. So he takes matters into his own hands, but accidentally kills the boy he was trying to save, and riddled with guilt, hands himself into those who swore they would help him.
I shot was for this motherfucker to be eating on me.
And the boy?
He was dipping. I knew he was. I just didn't think. The child had no one for him. No mother, no family. And he in the street like I'm in the street. So I tried to, like I ain't know who I am, right? Like I'm pretending I ain't been a dope fiend my whole damn life.
Yet despite all this, Bubbles is still one of a small handful of characters on The Wire who show that redemption in Baltimore is in fact possible. His tunnel was undoubtedly one of the darkest and longest on the show. However, there was a small flicker of light at the end of it. Sure, characters like Naaman, Herc and Lester had redemptions too. However, nobody deserved it more than Bubbles. He tried his hardest when it came to changing Sherrod's life for the better, and actually learnt from his mistakes when raising Johnny. He was also one of the few characters who actually showed remorse for his actions, rather than remorse for the consequences of them. McNulty regretted being stuck on the boat, but not the fact that he was an insubordinate or a drunk. Omar regretted what happened to Brandon, but not what he did for him to end up like that. Bubbles was a glimmer of hope, in a world filled with those who failed to see the error of their ways. Sure, he was a hypocrite and a junkie, but unlike many, he eventually came to peace with such, and was finally able to get his life on track. As it goes, if guilt, bad consciousness, and the related feelings of responsibility are only a product of the fear of punishment, then if never caught, would anyone ever truly change for the better?